Opening your movie zoomed in on an animation of a turd.
Some things start out big,
Dinerceration.
but sometimes the smallest thing can make the biggest changes of all.
Like an asteroid. I mean, what? Also, that's how they get you. They say, try this one weird trick to increase the length of your manhood by 4 inches, and before you know it, you wake up in Tijuana hanging upside down with your scotch taped to a pull-up bar, and oh yes, your left kidney is gone. Playing favorites with your unhatched eggs. Now we know why the Carnotaurus went extinct. They couldn't control their highly visible drool, tipping off prey to their location. I think I'm supposed to believe that the Carnotaurus stealthily encroached upon the delightfully docile dinosaurs, but I doubt that. It would have crashed its way to the trees and made such a commotion. I'm saying that the death of the dinos is entirely their fault for not paying attention. Oh my god, thank Christ the hero egg was unharmed during the attack. I'd grown to care about it so much. Yeah, let these kids know you're not afraid to show how real dinosaurs were. You know, right before showing them a dinosaur raised by lemurs. Movie inspires Fox to create Scrat 2 years later, changing a dinosaur into a squirrel and an egg into a nut. Why does the pterodactyl fly all the way down the waterfall only to fly back to the tops of the cliffs later? Is it so that Disney could show off this animation that is really just live-action nature scenes with dinosaur characters digitized in? This egg's journey feels like a prehistoric Rube Goldberg machine. And how many animals are going to be interested in an egg like this? Why are seagulls fighting a pterodactyl for this thing? This whole sequence is like if the treasure on the Sierra Madre was about dino eggs and all the dinosaurs were like Humphrey Bogart. Luckily for this baby dinosaur, it has evolutionary human baby expressions that encourage parents to care for their young, which also appeal to lemurs. There must be some Disney executive who adds fart, poop, and pee jokes to a movie and insists that it adds an extra $10 million to the box office take.
Does that look like a monster to you?
Movie will now pretend that the iguanodon did indeed turn into a monster, despite showing us a 9-minute opening sequence where we were supposed to care whether he lived or died. I'm sure these kinds of hijinks work on the intended audience for this movie, but not me. And I'm here to tell you that you need to be everything to everyone at all times, or you are dead to me. This fallen log survives this.
Hairball!
It's as good a time as any to mention that this movie was once conceived as a darker version by Paul Verhoeven and Phil Tippett, and over 14 years became this Jungle Book clone.
You don't want to miss Yar's annual pep talk.
But that's exactly what happens. So I have no idea why Aladar came out here to pick up Zini just so that he could slowly take him back to the Lemur debutante ball. If Yar's pep talk was so important, why does he waste all this time? Why didn't he tell Yar he was going to pick Zini up and wait until he got back?
Now, girls, don't jump into the trees after the first boy with a cute backflip.
And if a cute backflip doesn't work, yes.
That's basically the advice this father-daughter team gives to the lemurs. Everything else isn't advice at all. You'd think they'd want to give advice that would work toward better mating. This isn't a Jane Austen novel. Nobody's got a dowry to worry about. Also, who put a dating tutorial in my f***ing dinosaur movie?
You're never going to forget this day.
They'll never remember.
See, it's funny because even the animal kingdom can't have relationships that start with both parties on the same page.
Make 'em look good, son.
My charm and your brains? No problem.
These lemurs probably wonder how they ever f***ed successfully without this iguanodon's assistance. When I was told to watch this movie, I would have never imagined that 78% of the runtime is dedicated to lemur foreplay. Look, I'm not a lemur, so I don't know how this kind of shit works, but it really looks like nobody did anything except some sort of choreographed vine jumping, and everybody found their mate by accidentally crashing into some available strange. Really, the only thing this scene accomplishes is showing us that Zini strikes out yet again because he's the unusual looking one. It had nothing to do with backflips or pickup lines or the fact that there was one fewer female than the males. These lemurs apparently mate by musical chairs rules. So wait, the lemurs go to the top of the tree and they just watch a sunset? What a ripoff. Not that I wanted to see that or anything. Yep, after all I've seen, the movie has left no doubt. Zini was left hanging.
The clan still has one bachelor.
No, we have 2.
Because happiness is only achieved if you find a mate. If you don't get married, you are a failure.
Come on, Fleo. What more could I want?
I mean, if Aladar's life goals are to watch the mating rituals of lemurs for the rest of his life, yeah, he has arrived.
Whoa.
It is said that D.B. Sweeney got his whoa tips from Keanu Reeves while they filmed Hardball. Hardball came out a year after this movie, so it's pretty clear that D.B. has that Amy Adams power from Arrival. The sin is he uses it for his acting, but not for the betterment of mankind. Maybe it's just me, but it seems like if you're this close to a meteor that was 4.5 billion times the impact of the atomic bomb, you probably wouldn't be alive after this, much less be able to gawk at it and wonder. Oh yeah, and I'm sure these small meteors would have only had the effect of hand grenades, so that seems pretty accurate as well. Aladar looks down at the rocks below, but then jumps into the water and somehow misses the rocks. I'm just saying that the amount of work the animators put into this movie would have been far more manageable if everyone splattered on the rocks as they should. Movie over. Oh yeah, totally. That meteor's impact would stop right there where the landmass ends. Just jump in the water, and you can avoid that. Have I mentioned this dinosaur and all the lemurs should be dead? Ah, yes, iguanodons, like most dinosaurs, known for their incredible swimming ability.
Now, Suri. There's nothing to be afraid of.
There is everything to be afraid of.
Alligator, they're stopping!
These assholes, heroes, get saved from the raptors at the last minute by a traveling dino party. A dinos ex machina, if you will. I know some of you won't, but that's what I'm calling it. Phew! Sure, I'm glad this huge conglomerate of dinosaurs survived the meteor. I guess, there's hope for the dinosaurs as a species now?
Watch it!
Despite the matter of life and death going on at this very minute, Aladar is overcome with the power of boners as he checks out Neera's backside and whatever counts as boobs. Aladar is not gored by a three-horn in this scene.
Well, my word. Look at her. He doesn't normally warm up to strangers so fast.
There's something inherently special about our hero that makes shy kids warm up to them cliché.
It is the most beautiful place there is, child. It's where the herd goes to have their babies.
That's all well and good, but didn't this meteor cause a change to the atmosphere that blacked out the sun for years? The filmmakers of this movie say yes, but nobody really knows that. Let's just assume the meteor didn't cause catastrophic damage around the entire world and destroy 75% of all species. Maybe these dinosaurs were lucky. Maybe these are the ones that evolved into birds. You don't know.
Will we find anybody that looks like us there?
Oh, the last few days, I've seen them all shapes and sizes.
What kind of answer is this? You're going to the nesting grounds in a group consisting of 100% dinosaurs. There isn't a titmouse, dick, or common cockchafer among them.
They're having a hard time keeping up. So, maybe you could slow it down a bit.
Neera laughs at this, I guess because she's got a boner for Aladar. But since we're about to hear how oppressive and mean Crone is, it's kind of weird she chuckles at this. Crone has obviously murdered other dinosaurs for sport in the past, so what is his chuckle?
Since when do we take orders from the likes of him?
Crone has swatted flies bigger than you, Pops.
Flies bigger than a lemur? Anyway, I know we often use exaggeration to make a point, but wouldn't it be more impressive if our measuring stick was based on something bigger than fly-sized? This looks impressive with the camera so close to the velociraptor as it poses menacingly to an unseen audience. But if you were to move the camera back 10 feet, you'd wonder what the this asshole was even doing. Is it senior class picture day?
Hey, hello? Anybody in there?
Lemur alarms. Also, Pink Floyd The Wall was released November 30th, 1979, and the single Comfortably Numb came out a few months later. This movie is set in the time of dinosaurs, just a few years before Pink Floyd even formed as a band.
Ow, baby!
Zini makes all this noise that a dinosaur probably can't make. Then Neera turns around and sees Aladar, who is clearly doing nothing, and thinks that he's the one making the noise.
That, children, is what's known as a Jerkosaurus.
Teaching children incorrect dinosaur facts. A Jerkosaurus is when your parents walk in on you and your partner during mutual masturbation.
We stop for nothing. And no one.
Is there some sort of ticking clock that I'm not aware of here? Since the meteor and its devastating after effects don't seem to matter, what is behind this get to the nesting grounds at all costs philosophy other than making the villain the villain?
There is no water till we reach the other side.
Makes you wonder why, in the past, these dinosaurs went on such a long journey to lay eggs, when the actual journey is so long and arduous that it could kill them. I understand predators might routinely raid your home, but it's not like making this trip is so much better.
Hey, old girl, you're wandering off a bit.
That's all I need. A monkey on my back.
First off, he's right, so maybe you do need a monkey on your back. Second off, the saying monkey on your back refers to a problem you've been unable to solve for an extended period of time that has led to personal failure. So it sounds like you guys just really wanted to make that monkey on your back pun at whatever cost, no matter how many lives were lost. We once again must ask, why do certain animals in this universe speak through noises while everyone else has a firm grasp of the English language, or some universal language that can be spoken between different species? Was the talking raptor in Jurassic Park 3 so bad that they didn't even want to do it in an animated movie where talking animals are accepted? Carnotaurs show up to the carcass party that the raptors quickly leave behind, but in the overhead shot, the carcass is nowhere to be found.
The lake!
We made it?
It's just over that hill, baby.
Movie spends so much time on the dinosaurs' excitement as they approach a lake that it's pretty clear there won't be one when they get there.
We've never gone this long without water. If we keep going like this, we'll lose half the herd.
I understand that Crone is a cruel leader with tunnel vision, but at this point, what is the alternative? I mean, sure, he could have a heart and let everyone rest, but the water is still a problem, no? I'm not sure how much better it is for everyone to lie down in the middle of the desert to rest up when they're about to die of thirst. Wait a minute, that sounds exactly like a foot pressing down on soil that's covering a hidden water spring. Let's investigate.
Do you hear that?
Look, I don't know if this is a naturally occurring phenomenon. A whole lake dries up and it still has water underneath its bottom, but I do know that when lakes evaporate, water retention is less likely to happen underneath a sandy floor. Movie came up with a real problem and bailed the dinosaurs out with lucky insanity. This feels like unnecessary assholery on the movie's part to have a dinosaur knock kids out of the way while it drinks from the water hole. Like, does this dinosaur think that the little kids are going to somehow be in the way while they drink? So did everyone who wanted water get water? Who knows? The movie now cuts to Bruton and the Scout looking for water, like we give a f*** about the characters at all.
Now you just take a foot and press.
Male shows proficiency with kids in front of the female, and now the female wants to do him cliché.
I'm Aladar, the Jerkosaurus.
Oh, sorry about that.
Probably right.
She isn't.
Dad, wake up.
If we find a good hiding spot, we might get to watch those two dinos.
I'll get you some water.
Oh, apparently you can dig anywhere in this dust bowl of a lake and water will pop out of it. Kind of makes you wonder why they made everybody drink from that one tiny spring earlier if they could make multiple watering holes. Ah, for f***'s sake. Romantic water drinking. Earlier in the movie, we saw Carnotaur waiting in the woods before Drool gave them away. Then they sneaked up on Bruton but couldn't hold in their growls. Now they're announcing their presence miles away from the dino campsite. These assholes are actually getting worse at stalking their prey as the movie goes along.
If you ever interfere again, I'll kill you.
I'd just like to know what Crone's motivation is for all this, other than just being an asshole. And the f***er dies before we even get an answer. As we see the old, slow dinosaurs walk across the dry lake, we worry about their safety. After all, there are two Carnotaurs hot on their tails. But then the movie quietly transitions to nighttime, and those assholes still haven't caught up with the pack. The Carnotaurs start drinking from the water hole, which reminds me the dinosaur herd should have brought some canteens so they could fill up before they moved out. Now, I know what you're thinking. A dinosaur having access to a canteen is pretty stupid, but since I just endured a dino meet cute a few minutes ago, I figure canteens aren't all that ridiculous.
You don't want to know where I got blisters.
Making Ossie Davis say this line. I don't know why it angers me so much, probably because I'm dead inside, that they make characters cute by acting like puppies in these movies, probably for merchandising purposes. Everyone needs to know, because I learned this the hard way, dinosaurs are not puppies.
At least I know enough to get in out of the rain.
Yes, I'm quite confident that dinosaurs were always finding shelter when it rained. They were very like humans when it came to getting wet. To this day, when you go to the Yucatan Peninsula, you can still see the remains of all those dino huts they used to live in.
Who booked this trip anyway?
This movie isn't nearly as bad as Ice Age when it comes to anachronisms, but good God. Nobody booked this trip. Besides, this is a common trip taken by the dinosaurs like every year. What are we even talking about?
This plant grew on our island. It will make you feel better.
Oh, so we're supposed to believe that these assholes have synthesized like aloe or some shit, carry it around in wooden jars, but they don't have containers for water? You guys thought I was kidding about the canteens. I was not.
Pushing them on with false hope.
It's hope that's gotten us this far.
That is patently false. There hasn't been one mention of hope until now. Remember when Aladar discovered the water? That didn't have shit to do with hope. This isn't the f***ing Shawshank Redemption. You tacked on hope in this movie worse than George Lucas did with the 1981 re-release of Star Wars.
Well, the plant will help.
Will the plant also grow tiny lemur hands to dig into the tiny plant bits and gingerly apply salve to his massive wounds? Because there is no way his boulder toes can scoop the goop. I'm watching this chase and I'm wondering, if the Carnotaur ends up eating Aladar, will that make any significant change in my life? I've decided that it doesn't, so I am now actively rooting for the Carnotaur to win. I mean, the Carnotaur isn't really a bad guy here, he's just hungry. It's not his fault that the movie made him growl and roar instead of speak and made Aladar into Christ Jesus. How do we know that he hasn't done a lot of great deeds in the dino community? The creature is a carnivore. What the f*** else is he gonna do? Bruton! No! No. Also, Bruton. Movie does not contain a banner that says when dinosaurs ruled the earth in this scene.
We're going to make it.
Unkeepable promises.
Get a load of that!
What is it? Is this history's first encounter with a film projector? Maybe the projectionist knows a way out of this cave.
Aladar, we'll go back.
As Aladar says, back to f***ing what? And he definitely said f***ing, but this is Disney and they pretended like he didn't. Anyway, the only reason you started going this way is because the entrance got caved in during the Carnotaur fight. What the hell do you think you can go back to?
The worst of it is, you allowed an old fool like me to believe I was needed, that I still had a purpose.
Baleen ends up pounding the rocks, which spurs everyone else to do the same, and they end up knocking them loose and getting out of the cave. But why didn't she just try this in the first place? To be honest, she's right. Aladar gave up way too soon. But the question is, did Aladar have to give up so that she'd get mad and start stomping on the rocks? Because maybe she should be thanking Aladar for losing faith. Maybe this never happens if he doesn't. So these are the nesting grounds. Question for the dinosaurs. Why didn't they just stay here in the first place? Why was this an annual pilgrimage when you could just be here?
Crone will eat you alive.
Crone? You're worried about Crone? The list of obstacles before him isn't that great either. Aladar has to pick his way through the rocks and corpses in a cave-in, then find the right path without knowing much more than to follow his Aladar boner compass to the We Touch Toes Once girlfriend. Plus, there's still a Carnotaur out there.
In the morning, we'll climb it.
Sounds like Crone thinks he's Werner Herzog directing Fitzcarraldo. It is apparently now easy to knock heavy rocks out of a cave-in because the movie says it is.
If they can do it, so can you!
Well, they do weigh significantly less, and will likely have an easier time scampering up the rocks, but sure, show us how much of an ass you are, so that we don't care when you die.
They're staying with me!
Since the movie's almost over, I'd like to ask, what the hell does Crone get out of being the dictator of this dino group? Is he set up like a mob boss where all the dino families pay him the weekly earnings from their underground casinos? Oh man, who knew Nero was such a brother f***er? The dinosaurs scream profanities that repel the apex predator, and what they scream is so vulgar that Disney refuses to show us subtitles. Well, I did some digging, and it turns out, when they roar like this, it actually means, listen you filled hole of a and I will leave you on the that's hard till lots of. Damn, Disney, you're dark. Movie says, I give up. Let's just have the edge of the mountain collapse underneath the Carnotaur and end this already. Tea time's in an hour, gotta get going. Oh. Is this movie trying to make me feel sad that Crone is dead? How cute. I would say nice try, but, well, you know. Necking. This movie is a lot like The Lion King, isn't it? A child displaced from its home, a tyrant uncle leading the pack for most of the movie, meteors taking the place of the wildebeest, the circle of life. Certainly not exact, but it's got all the symptoms of a Lion King.
Let me get a good look at you.
This joke was considered good enough to do a second time.
Any of you ladies up for a game of monkey in the middle?
Apparently they are. It sure was nice of all these dinosaur species to line up and lay their eggs in a neat row for cinematic impact.
None of us really know what changes, big or small, lie ahead.
Earlier, the narration was talking about how sometimes the smallest thing can make the biggest changes of all, and it was referring to Aladar while he was still in the egg. But none of that was really true. The giant meteor is what changed everything. It required Aladar to grow up into a big dinosaur. This isn't like Horton Hears a Who, where the smallest voice makes all the difference.
One thing is certain. Our journey's not over.
Oh, it's over.
In the soft limestone of Missouri, we've been preparing a network of immense caves.
What is it? What is it for?
Looks like an airplane without wings.
What you know about me? Can't even pee straight. Nary a one of you. What you know about anything?
I regret nothing!
Oh, what a day. What a lovely day. Crone says everybody goes.
Now get up! Get on your feet!
That beer's getting better, I'll admit that. But you're still weak on the left side.
We're not weak on the left side. We just gotta work hard on the left side, that's all.
It's not the problem.
Move the herd out. Double time.
I've got blisters on my blisters.
I got blisters on my fingers!
You can lie down with us. It's warmer.
Relax. You'll warm up soon. Faster if you took your clothes off.
I'll hold them off! You help the others!
Hold the door!
I know a way to the valley, and everybody can make it. Now follow me!
Mama's making a puby salad, and I need some Seth's own dressing.